important graph in the world. And I'm going to explain it to you, and the more I explain, the more you will realize why. But first, I'm going to give you a test, a memory test. How many of you are already nervous? And the reason why we're nervous when we get challenged on memory is because we've fundamentally never been taught. I mean, how many hours, roughly, say tens, hundreds, or thousands of hours, just estimate, how many hours did you spend in your academic career from the time you started to where you are now, or the time you graduated? How many hours did you spend on mathematics and number? Tens, hundreds, or thousands? Thousands. How many hours on language and literature? Thousands. How many hours on all the sciences, including geography, chemistry, biology, physics, astronomy? Thousands. Now listen in your memory to the tone of the human voice talking about its relationship with the universes of knowledge. How many hours on mathematics and number? Thousands. How many hours on language and literature? Thousands. How many hours on all the sciences, geography, physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy? Thousands. I mean, it's all so deadly dull and depressing, isn't it? It should have been, how many hours on mathematics and number? And you say, oh, about 7,826.54321 recurring, and I can't wait for the next 10,000. So there's been a disconnection. How many hours on the nature of your memory, and how it changes with time as you are learning, and how you can change the way in which you learn in order to change that graph to your advantage. 0. And I could sit here now and say how many hours on the nature of memory after learning and forgetting, how many hours on the nature of the brain cell, how many hours on the nature of your eye and your occipital lobe, and how you can use your brain to change that relationship and improve your concentration. And the answer is going to be 0, 0, 1. So what we have learnt, and what I learnt, was the things we had to learn. We learned geography, we learned history, we learned chemistry, we learned English, we learned religious studies. So we learned what to learn. What did we not learn? How to learn. And which one should come first? How to learn. So that's what we're doing tonight. I'm going to give you a test, a memory test, and if you've been trained in memory, you'd be relishing a memory test. You say, yeah, go on, give it to me, I'll get perfect. But I'm going to give you this test, and unless you are trained as a memory athlete, you're not going to remember what I'm going to say. So you're doomed to fail, so you don't have to worry about it. And the whole idea here is not to remember it all anyway. The idea is to remember whatever you remember. Just see whatever it is you remember of the long list of words that I'm going to give you. So don't write these down, just see what your own brain remembers. Are you ready? And the list starts now. House, floor, wall, glass, roof, sun, bus, sky, road, shoe, and of, the, and of, the, flower, Muhammad Ali, watch, and of, the, coat, tree, cat, pain, fire, elephant. Okay, that's the lot. Don't write anything down. Don't talk to anybody, because we're going to reveal it bit by bit. This graph, as well as being the inspiration for mind maps, is the result of the test I've just given you. It's telling you that this is predictable, that what's in your heads now is that. And we're going to check it. Because the vertical branch is the amount you recall. So this is the amount you recall. The horizontal branch is the time when you are learning. So this arrow here is where learning starts, time goes on, and this is where learning ends. So I'm going to ask you just put your hands up. Don't say anything until I ask you to say. And look around to see what the group result is. So first question, don't say it. How many of you can remember the first word that I said? Keep your hands up, look around. Keep them up if you can remember the first two, the first three, the first four, the first five, the first six, the first seven, the first eight, the first nine. Perfect result. Your result, you notice virtually everybody had the first word. That's this one up here. And then it goes down and down, second word, third word, fourth word, until we get to around 9 where hardly anybody. If you can remember 9 in that little test, you have an IQ of 150, which is genius on the IQ test. But as you now know from what the memory champions did, anybody can do it if you know how. But if you're not using your memory properly, if you're just allowing it, it starts high and then sags as the time goes on. It is called the Primacy Effect, meaning we remember the first things. This predicts that you will remember, if you're a parent, you'll remember the first time you saw your child. You'll remember your first day in school or university this year. You'll remember the first time you met your true love. So you will remember the first things. You'll remember those things which happen at the beginnings. How many of you confirm that you tend to remember those first times? The first time you traveled, the first time you flew. Keep your hands up. Look around. This is a law. It's a law. You remember the first things. Okay, next question. How many of you can remember 1 or 2 of the last 3 or 4 words that I said? Okay, so quite a few. And you will notice that the curve goes up and is higher at the end. This is known as the recency effect, so you remember more of those things at the end of times. So for example, let's put that to the test. This says you will remember the last meal you ate. Not only that, you'll remember where you were, who you were with, what you were doing, what you were thinking, what the weather was like, all of that. But if I say to you, tell me about the 97th meal ago, it'll be gone. You will remember your last holiday or vacation, usually better than the other ones unless they were particularly outstanding. You will remember the last time you saw the people or person you loved the most, whether that was today or 12 and a half years ago. You remember, we remember the last things. How many of you confirm that you remember those last times? Okay, so now start to think about it. What does that signify? You are asking yourself, you're saying to yourself, I remember better the beginnings than the ends. And so does everybody else. How does that help me change my behavior? Next question. Can anybody remember, don't say it, just put your hand up, anything that I said that was really different from the rest of the things that I said? Okay, so that's all of you. Say what you think it was. Muhammad Ali. Now you all come from different families, different ages, different educations, and virtually everyone said Muhammad Ali. And the graph knew it. Because there it is, that's Muhammad Ali, right there. Why Muhammad Ali? Why did you remember him? Because it was different, outstanding, a big image, lots of associations. It's because of your imagination. And it was a powerful image. For those of you who want to know the academic name for it, it's called the von Restorff Effect, which says you will remember those things that stand out, that are big images, that are bold. Can anybody remember any word, don't say, any word that I repeated? Keep your hands up. Look around. Okay. Now you can say them. What were they? So predictable. And the graph has got it. The and the of and the are those three red loops. Why did you remember those? Because of association and repetition. When I said and the second time, I know that your brain had a little chat with itself. It said something like, ha, Tony just made a mistake. Or it said, he said that before. Or it said, is this the beginning of some devilish subplot within this test? Some trick? So you linked the word and to the word and in whatever way. So by association and repetition, you remember. So imagination and association, really, really vitally important. Next, not the first 7, 8, 9, not the last 4 or 5, and not and of the in Muhammad Ali, but tell me any other words, i.e. the words from the middle. Words from the middle, yes? Cat I hear, sky I hear. Thus. Elephant, flower. Elephant, cat, finger. Now, isn't that interesting? I asked you for words from the middle. And I got some words from the beginning, and some words from the end, including the last one. And I asked you for the middle, and I only got a few of those. So the graph is even more powerful if it is not at the beginning, if it is not at the end, if it is not image and association. What happens? You forget it. And the end and the beginning fall in, and you think that's the middle. And it's not. Next. I'm going to ask you, did I say yes or no certain words? And you just say yes or no. Did I say cat? Yes. Did I say the? Did I say sun? Yes. Did I say house? Yes. Did I say floor? Yes. Did I say wall? Yes. Did I say window? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you mean when you say yes, no, yes, no? There is that little X which suddenly becomes big. I didn't say that. But I do know that many of you were daydreaming when I was saying what I said. Because I was giving you a relatively dull list of words, house, floor, wall, glass. And your brain said, ooh, we've got the makings of a house here. That glass, we can make a window. And so you put in a window. How many of you have been having a lovely conversation with your best friend, your true love, whoever, and you're saying, do you remember the time when, and they say, yes, 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 and then the time so-and-so, yes, yes, and then we were talking about so-and-so, yes, and then I said so-and-so, yes, and you said so-and-so. I didn't say so-and-so. No, you did. I remember it really well. I said so-and-so, you said so-and-so, I said so-and-so, and you did say so-and-so. I did not say so-and-so. You called me a liar? Yes, I am. Anybody ever had a conversation, anything like that? And that's all it is. It's the association that was in that person's head when you said whatever you said. When I said house, floor, wall, glass, some of you had window. So when I ask you again, did I say window? And you say yes, you are partly correct. Because what I said stimulated you to think window. So in your internal universe, you were totally correct. So, the most important graph in the world. From that graph, let's imagine that's all you know. And somebody says, we want to devise a note-taking system that obeys recall during learning. So it's a note-taking system where you've got the principles of the way recall during learning works. What kind of note-taking system would you have to develop based on this? What would have to be in those notes? Images, you've got to have images, it says. Associations, you've got to have associations, it says. You've got to have color and interest. The more interested you are, the higher that whole graph goes. That's what those little arrows are. So you've got to have images, you've got to have colors, you've got to have associations. What kind of note-taking system are you developing? Mind map. That's how I did it. I was at university and I was lecturing in Psychology 101 and I was lecturing on this graph. But I was using the normal university lecturer's linear notes. So I came into the classroom and I said, all right, group, today the subject is recall during learning, and there are 5 main elements to the recall during learning procedure. The first of these is an effect called the Primacy Effect, which refers to the fact that in a normal learning situation, the human brain will tend to remember more at the beginning of that session than at other times during the learning process. Everybody got that? The second main principle is known as the Recency Effect, which refers to the fact that the human brain, all other things being equal, will tend to remember more at the end of said learning period than at other times during the learning period. The Recency Effect. Everybody got that? Right. The third effect is known as the Imagination Effect, commonly known in the parlance of psychology as the Restorff Effect. And this refers to the fact that the brain will definitely recall those things which in any way, either spoken or written, are outstanding. I'll repeat that. And there was I, droning on, boring these students to distraction as they made their linear notes. And I was boring myself as well. And I suddenly thought, here am I, Tony Buzan, lecturing on memory in a way which is perfectly designed to have every student forget everything that I'm saying. And then I looked at my notes, and I thought, these notes do not contain anything from this graph. So you look at linear notes, are there images in there? No, so imagination gone. Are there associations? No. Colors? No. Things outstanding? No. So that was the trigger for mind maps. So if anybody asks you why you mind map, you've got the radiant nature of the thought, the fact that we think in images and associations, and you've got the recall during learning graph, which allows you to remember whatever you want to remember.